My name is Olivia Carter. I'm 24 years old, and I live in a quiet suburb just outside Chicago. I'm a single mom to a beautiful 6-year-old girl named Emma, and I work full-time as a graphic designer. Family has always been important to me, or at least that's what I thought until the night of my parents' 30th wedding anniversary. The invitation had come weeks earlier. My parents, Linda and Robert, were throwing a big party at their house, inviting family and close friends to celebrate 3 decades of marriage. I was excited to bring Emma, hoping it would be a chance for her to connect with her extended family. I wanted her to grow up surrounded by love, with cousins to play with and grandparents to spoil her. But that night didn't go as I imagined. When Emma and I arrived, the house was buzzing. My mother stood in the living room, elegantly dressed, greeting everyone with a warm smile. My father was nearby talking to his old friends, and my sister, Rachel, 6 years older than me, was dressed to impress, clearly enjoying the spotlight. Mom handed out gift bags filled with toys, candy, and little notes. She moved around the room gracefully. But when Emma stepped forward to receive her bag, things changed. "Wait your turn," Mom said sharply, barely looking at Emma. Then, without a word, she handed gift bags to the neighbors' kids who were standing behind Emma. I watched Emma's face fall. She looked up at me, confused and hurt. I took a step forward. "Emma, honey, it's okay. You'll get yours." Before I could say more, Rachel snatched an empty gift bag from the table and shoved it into Emma's hands with a cruel smirk. "Pick up the trash," she said loudly. The room froze for a moment. Then some guests chuckled awkwardly. Others exchanged uncomfortable glances. Emma's eyes welled up with tears. She bent down and started picking up candy wrappers scattered on the floor as the other children played with their gifts. I felt my throat tighten. My heart broke watching my daughter treated like she was invisible, like she didn't belong. I swallowed my anger and kneeled beside Emma, wrapping my arms around her. "It's okay, baby. Let's go home." No one stopped us as we left. That night, I cried alone in Emma's room, feeling more alone than ever. The next morning, I wrote a letter to my parents, explaining why Emma and I wouldn't be attending family events anymore. I taped it to their front door and walked away, knowing this was just the beginning of a long, painful journey. The day after the anniversary party, the silence was deafening. I didn't hear from my parents or Rachel. The letter I left on their door was met with cold indifference. No calls, no texts, nothing. Emma asked me why Grandma and Grandpa didn't call. I didn't have a good answer. Days turned into weeks. Every attempt I made to reach out was ignored. My phone rang once. It was my father, but when I answered, all I heard was silence on the other end before he hung up. I knew then that my family was shutting me out. The isolation was suffocating. I kept wondering what had changed so suddenly. Was it just the anniversary party? Or had my family been harboring this resentment for years? I started to reflect on my childhood, trying to piece together moments I had buried. How Rachel was always the golden child, praised and protected. How I was often overlooked, blamed for things I didn't do, or simply invisible when it mattered most. Emma became my anchor. Every smile she gave me was a reminder that I was doing something right. That no matter what my family said or did, I would protect her. But the hurt ran deep. One afternoon, I decided to confront my mother directly. I sent her a message asking to meet, hoping for some kind of explanation or closure. She replied coldly, "There's nothing to discuss." That response hit me like a punch to the gut. I realized then that this wasn't just about one party or one gift bag. This was about control, about power, about punishment. And I was being punished for standing up for Emma. Rachel, too, started sending subtle, venomous messages through family group chats, mocking me, questioning my choices, and trying to turn other relatives against me. I felt like I was losing not just my parents, but my entire family. Yet, somewhere inside, a small flame was starting to burn. I wasn't going to let their betrayal define me or Emma's future. Weeks of silence from my parents and Rachel had worn me down. The cold shoulder, the whispers behind my back, it all felt like a weight pressing on my chest. But every time I looked at Emma, I found the courage to keep going. One morning, while scrolling through old photos, I stumbled on a picture of me and my mom from years ago, smiling, happy. It felt like a lifetime away. How had things changed so much? That's when I made a decision. I wasn't going to be a victim anymore. I started researching support groups for people facing family, estrangement, and toxic relationships. I found forums filled with stories like mine, of betrayal, rejection, but also of healing and strength. I joined a local women's support group. Sitting in that circle of strangers, I shared my story for the first time out loud. The weight lifted slightly from my shoulders. For the first time in months, I wasn't alone. I also reached out to a therapist who specialized in family trauma. Our sessions became a lifeline. She helped me understand that my family's cruelty was not my fault, and that my feelings were valid. Meanwhile, Rachel's attacks grew sharper. She spread lies about me, that I was selfish, unstable, unfit to care for Emma. It stung, but I refused to engage. Instead, I focused on building a new family, one based on love, respect, and support. I found strength in my friends, in Emma's laughter, and in my own resolve. I started documenting everything: Rachel's messages, my parents' silence, every insult and betrayal. I didn't know what I would do with it yet, but I knew that one day I would need the truth on my side. Most importantly, I promised Emma that no matter what, I would always protect her. From anyone, even if it was my own blood. The road ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was reclaiming my life. For the first time, my parents listened. Not defensively, but with hesitation. My father admitted that things had gotten out of hand, that pride and old grievances blinded them. My mother remained silent, but I could see a flicker of regret in her eyes. Rachel, however, didn't apologize. Instead, she smirked and left the room. I realized then that some wounds take longer to heal, and some people may never change. But I wasn't here to beg for their acceptance. I was here to claim my dignity and protect Emma's future. After that night, I set boundaries. No more toxic family drama. No more allowing myself to be hurt for the sake of blood ties. I focused on building a home filled with love, respect, and peace. I reconnected with old friends, pursued my career with renewed passion, and watched Emma grow into a bright, joyful child. The road to healing wasn't perfect. There were setbacks and moments of doubt. But every time I felt weak, I remembered the little girl who asked for a gift bag and got an empty trash bag instead. That girl deserved so much better. Months had passed since the anniversary party, and the pain of my family's betrayal still lingered like a shadow over my everyday. But I wasn't the same person anymore. The woman who once crumbled under their cruelty had begun to rise, stronger and wiser. One evening, I received a message from my father. It was brief and cold, asking me to come over and talk. I hesitated. Was this a genuine olive branch or another way to manipulate me? I debated for days, but finally decided. I needed answers, went for Emma's sake and mine. Walking into my childhood home felt surreal. The walls that once echoed with laughter now felt suffocating, heavy with unspoken resentment. My mother didn't even look at me when I arrived, and Rachel's cold stare was enough to remind me why I was here. My father sat me down, his voice gruff. We need to clear the air. This family can't stay divided. I took a deep breath and spoke honestly about the hurt, the exclusion, and the cruelty. I told them how Rachel's words had wounded me, how my mother's coldness broke my heart, and how I felt abandoned. After that small gathering, something inside me shifted. For so long, I had held on to pain, anger, and disappointment. But now, I felt the weight begin to lift. I started to see my parents not as perfect people who had failed me, but as flawed humans who were trying, in their own way, to make amends. My mother reached out more often. At first, it was just quick texts or short calls, awkward and hesitant. But soon she wanted to spend time with Emma and me. I was cautious, but I knew this was a chance I had to give. Not for them, but for myself and for Emma. One afternoon, we went to the park together. Emma held my mother's hand, her laughter filling the air. Watching them, I realized how much I had longed for this simple moment. A family, imperfect but present. Rachel still didn't attend family events, but I had made peace with that. My life was full of love from other sources, and I was enough. I threw myself into building a life that Emma deserved, a home filled with warmth, laughter, and unconditional love. I went back to school, finished my degree, and found a job I loved. With each step forward, I grew stronger and more confident. Every night I thanked God for giving me the strength to overcome betrayal and the courage to build something new. I promised myself that no matter what happened, I would never let anyone dim my light, or Emma's. Our bond became unbreakable, a testament to how love can heal even the deepest wounds. Looking back, I'm proud of how far we've come. The past still lingers, but it no longer defines me. Instead, it's the foundation from which I rise. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe my channel to get more stories.